Good evening, welcome to VoiceWorks. My name is Suze Cooper. I'm flying solo this evening. Peter Stewart has left me to go off to a mobile journalism conference over in Galway. I'm not at all jealous, absolutely not jealous at all. Now, I'm really hoping that you can hear me out there. I've had no one kind of on the other end this evening to double check sound with. I can see once again that my feed is a little fuzzy. I'm afraid I'm having some real technical issues with my laptop. I've upgraded the operating system on my Mac and my computer can't deal with it. So I'm trying really hard to keep going with everything, but yeah, it has been a bit of a struggle. So I really hope this isn't too awful to be looking at this evening. So yes, here we are. This is VoiceWorks. What is it all about? Well, this is all about voice technology, and this is mine and Peter Stewart's project to get voice tech education out there, to tell you a bit about it, to introduce you to it, and to speak a bit about the news that's coming through every single day from the world of voice technology. And there certainly is something every day. There seems to be something brand new. So tonight I want to talk to you a little bit about audio branding and why it's going to be so important, why it already is so important. Certainly Voice First has a real coup for brands and businesses. It's something that everyone should really be thinking about for their brands and their business, and something that you can really leverage within your marketing strategy if you know how to. So that's why we're here. We really want to get the word out there and let you know how you can do that, show you how you can do that, and speak a little bit about the topics that are coming through. So audio branding is nothing new. Both me and Peter have a background in radio broadcasting, and most certainly you will have heard various things in your life every day on the radio that you know. I know locally there are several jingles and adverts on our radio station that people actually sing and hum along to and miss when they're not scheduled. And that is the beauty of fantastic audio marketing. Now, today a survey has come out from AMP, and there was a piece written about it on Campaign on the website, and I'll post the link to that after this chat. But basically they have named the two top brands for sonic branding that are using audio brilliantly. There's no surprises here, I have to say. There really aren't. And I am, despite what I've just said about technicalities this evening, I am actually going to try and play some of them so that you can hear exactly what I mean. So let's try and do that now. Let's see if I can move this up here and do something clever over here. Okay, and then I should be able to do something around here. I'm going to play you something which I think you will probably recognise. I think everybody will recognise that straight away. Even without seeing the visuals on that, you know absolutely straight away that that is McDonald's, and that is sonic branding. Just there, those tones, do, 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 do. There's 4 sounds in that. You know, they come back with one of them on the 5th tone, and that is how you know I'm loving it. That's McDonald's. McDonald's and Disney topped the ranking of brands most effective at using sound in their communication. So Disney, I have to say, I had to think about this, and I was like, Disney, what do they do? I really can't remember, but I guess they are absolutely right, because when you hear it, you kind of go, oh, yeah, of course. So here's Disney's. Now, I certainly think there's much more subtlety to Disney's, and potentially kind of certainly that sort of starry sound as sort of Tinkerbell's fairy wand goes over the Disney castle. Very iconic, and you do kind of go, oh yeah, of course, you know, you'd only hear that if you were listening to something, watching something that was to do with Disney. Now, I think they're very clever, both of them, in the way that they have created these sonic brands, because while they've got very strong foundations, they're not always exactly the same. So, you know, with Disney, they will adapt that sound and that mood to whatever film it is that they might be showing. So whether or not it's an action film that they've put together, an animation they've put together, I think at the beginning of Moana, it's, you know, obviously got a very kind of that feel that goes through the whole kind of musicality of the film, and that will be brought into that sonic branding at the very beginning. It's very, very clever, and really draws on psychology so much. So why am I talking about this in terms of voice tech? Well, certainly voice technology is drawing on an awful lot of different strands from audio that, as I say, we've been talking about for years and years and years, whether it's radio, whether it's audio advertising, all those kinds of things, linguistics, script writing, conversation styles, psychology, it's all there. It really does bring an awful lot of things together. And that, I think, is another reason why it's such a brilliant and interesting community to be part of, because you meet so many interesting people that are actually involved in this, each in a different way. Now, from a marketing perspective, we're quite often reminded to use a certain brand tone of voice. We might even have documents created, we might have certain phrases, slogans, ways that we refer to things, and this will be in our documents, on our websites, perhaps even in our podcasts if we're creating things of that nature. So what the idea behind sonic branding is, just like with the McDonald's signals, is that you can hear exactly what that brand is. You understand what it is just by listening. Now, anyone who has put together a podcast will probably have been through this kind of idea in terms of how the introduction goes together, how the outro goes together, how the music, the bed underneath the beginning of the podcast comes together, the sort of sound that it wants to create, the emotions you want to evoke before somebody starts to listen to your podcast. So it really is, the main question at the moment is, what's the sound of your brand? How is your brand going to sound? And how is that going to stand out? How are you going to get across your ethos and the way that you work and the things that you want to put out there through sound? Which noises, which notes? There's so much to think about in building this kind of image, this sonic brand. As I say, you know, Disney and McDonald's are well up there and running away with it in terms of identification when you hear it. And, you know, certainly there are other massive companies. I'm just reading the article here. So McDonald's and Disney each scored 51 out of 100 points. They were followed by Intel, absolutely top notch, Apple and Coca-Cola in the top 5. Shell, Netflix, Nescafe, Google and Amazon were next in the top 10, with Amazon and Google performing well due to the impact of their interactive voice technologies. Alexa sounds like Alexa. And I actually think, you know, at the moment that is part of their brand. A lot of people kind of say you can't, you know, it's not got that natural connection because it's not a human voice. But it is the way Alexa sounds. And equally, the Google voice, again, is part of their brand. It's got that kind of friendly, rounded intonation. All those kinds of things will very much have been thought about by the people putting these things together. So the senior strategist and product manager at AMP, who's the company who've put this all together, said many of the top performing brands are easily identifiable by a single sound asset like McDonald's "I'm loving it" jingle. But these sonic signifiers, while recognizable, are not sufficient for the digital age. Without a broader sonic ecosystem to draw from and use across multiple devices and formats, brands will struggle to make themselves heard in future years. And this really is the idea, that you're going to need a whole host of sound, a whole kind of sound platform around your brand that you can use in different circumstances, in different places, but that still all draws together and says your brand when someone hears it. So I think this is, you know, definitely an area for audio producers to go absolutely mad with. I think it's going to be great for experimentation. It's a real fantastic question that I do like to put out there quite often. What does your brand sound like? Have you thought about it? You know, have you considered what the music would be for your brand? Because that is exactly what we're speaking about here. So To me, I've heard it mentioned that creating sonic branding, ear cons as they're kind of known in the trade, instead of icons, creating these things is a bit like having fonts. So you might choose a font in a certain weight, you might underline it, you might have it in a certain height, a certain leading between it. This is very much like that. It's a sonic toolbox that we need to create our brand so that people can identify us just by listening. And that's all from me for tonight. But thank you very much for joining me. I will be back again, hopefully tomorrow night. And Peter will be back as well very soon. Don't forget to sign up for our talk that we're doing at Amazon UK. That's on Tuesday, July the 16th. I have to say, the tickets have flown, and we are so grateful to everybody that has signed up, and completely blown away that it has gone so quickly, from us putting the word out there that we were going to go ahead and do this, to pretty much seeing the tickets kind of in the last handful. We released a few more last night because we figured some people might not turn up, and you know, we really do want a packed room. We want to get as many people in there as we possibly can. So do sign up. There are still some seats available at the moment. It's free. It's at Amazon UK. It is an introduction to voice technology. Myself and Peter drawing on all of our broadcast experience and our marketing experience, and bringing that to you to explain why voice technology is going to be important to your brand and business over the coming years. For tonight, good evening.